Today we're going to be doing a transmission drain and fill on a 2004 Lexus ES330. It's got about 120,000 miles. I originally purchased the car with 58,000 miles, and I did a drain and fill at the date of purchase, and then the following oil change I did one more drain and fill, and then I did the next one at 95,000 miles. So here we are. I try to do them between every 30 and 40,000 miles. So I'm going to show you what we need, and this is a pretty easy job, about a 15-minute job. So you'll need 4 quarts of Toyota ATF, not WS, a T4. You're going to need a ratchet, 1/2 inch, 3/8, and then you're going to need a 10mm Allen. You'll need a skinny funnel. You could pour the ATF in the dipstick tube. You could also use a fluid transfer pump, whatever's easier for you. And then you're going to either need a torque adapter or a torque wrench. So I'll be using this one. This is about 30 bucks at Harbor Freight. I've got several different ones, but you don't want to go Harbor Freight. You can get something cheaper like a Tecton on Amazon, or you can go farther up, get a gear wrench, something nicer, all depending on your budget. And then you're going to need this crush washer right here. This will go on the transmission drain plug. I will put the part number in a screenshot in the video at the end of the video, or I'll put it in at this point and edit it in. But this is about $3 at Toyota. These should be between $7 to $8 a quart as of 2023 at your dealership. You can also buy genuine Toyota ATF on Amazon, so check that out, because oftentimes it'll be cheaper than what your dealer's going to sell it to you for. So you're going to need to measure what comes out. So we'll be using a bucket from Home Depot. That's about $3. I'll show you that. Okay, so you'll need something like this to measure it when you come out. If you don't have this, that's fine. Pay attention to the level on the jugs at quart on your ATF, and pour back into there. Just make sure you measure what comes out. The transmission pan should hold around 3.7 quarts of fluid, 3.8, somewhere around there. You're gonna want to do this while the engine's cold. Have your ATF fluid that is in your bottle and what's coming out of the vehicle, you're going to want to be around the same temperature. So as this stuff gets hot, it expands, so you do want them to be similar temp. So if you've been driving all day, get the car lifted up, let it sit and cool down. Best thing would be to do the vehicle in the morning, on a Saturday morning, or when it's been sitting all day. And then that way, if you ended up doing more, you know the exact amount. I mean, this is a lot easier of a process because you're using a dipstick, so you don't have to do with like different Toyota models where you'll have to get the vehicle up to temperature and then use the check valve. So this is a lot easier process. So right here, you're going to have your engine oil, and then your dipstick for your transmission is right here. So we'll get started. I'll show you where it's at. One other thing I forgot to mention, make sure your bucket or whatever you're draining into is clean, in case you have any problems after you change the transmission fluid. So if you have no problems going into it, and then you change the fluid, and then you end up having problems, the transmission starts slipping, anything weird, save this fluid, empty it into a clean container. You could dump out some fluid and put the old stuff back and possibly eliminate any issues due to the clutch material and everything that's going to be inside the transmission fluid. You know, that friction in there could be the difference between you slipping or not, depending on how poor shape, negligence, or lack of maintenance prior to you doing any service to it. You know, if you just bought a vehicle and you have no idea the history of the transmission fluid, you know, the quickest way is to pull out the dipstick, take a look at it, see if it's brown, burnt, black looking, look like old motor oil. You know, that's a really bad sign. The pinker, cherrier color, the better. Alright, so this is your driver's side front tire. Come over here, and this is your transmission pan. This is your 10mm Allen. So, passenger side, you'll have your oil drain plug, your oil pan, and transmission pan is driver's side, just in case. Don't want to mix these up. Alright, so we're going to crack that loose. Alright, mine was on there pretty tight. I couldn't get it one-handed. I had to give it two-hand. So you'll see my color right now is pink. This transmission shifts perfectly. If you get to this point, when you get to this point, if it comes out black, you know, buying a used vehicle, that's usually when I get a little cautious or nervous. But you can see that all this fluid, this is good. This is what you're looking for. Alright, so I'm going to let that completely drain, and then take a measurement. We'll get back there. When I get to this point right here is when I close it back up, wipe everything down, and then I torque that to spec with a new crush washer. I got out about 3.5 quarts. You could sit here all day. That will drip literally for like 24 hours. So once you get around here, you feel comfortable, tighten it up. And you can take a look. That's roughly 30,000 miles. So it's not burnt. Looks good. And that's how you want to maintain it. You want to keep it looking good. Every time you drain it, you want it to look good. You don't ever want it to get like motor oil. You'll want to clean your drain plug, wipe it down, and then put on your new crush washer. You can also pick these up on Amazon too, so no reason to reuse these, because on Amazon they're cheap, about $1 a piece. So just go ahead and order that before you get ready to tackle the job. You'll have it in a day or two. Alright, so we'll torque that on. I believe the torque spec is going to be 36 foot-pounds. Alright, so that's the setup right there. Insert your ratchet. Take your time and thread this in by hand. I should be wearing gloves, so make sure you wear gloves when you're doing this. I'm doing this at my own risk. Alright, we were right there. I'm going to clean this up a little bit better. Important to clean it. That way, make sure you don't have any leaks when the time comes. But as long as you use it, clean it, wipe it good, use a OEM gasket, you shouldn't have any leaks right here. This is also a good time to inspect your transmission pan. Look for if you're missing any bolts, any of these broke, loose. Check and see if your gasket, if you're having any leaks. Just give everything a good look over while you're down here. Check your CV axles, whatever's in the general area. It's a good time to just take a minute or 2 minutes just to look everything over, inspect leaks. Alright, so I'll hit that with a little bit of brake cleaner, and we're good down here. Now we're going to be topside. Alright, so I got the dipstick cleaned, wiped off, laid across the beauty cover using a thin $1 funnel. It's going to see it goes in right here, and the diameter on that is about the size of a dime or a penny. So this fits in nice right in there, and you're gonna have to pour slow and take your time. So I'm gonna add 3.5 in, and then I'll come back and show you how to check your level at the end. Alright, so I'm not exactly on a really level surface, so I went a little bit under what came out. While the engine's running, you're going to have on your dipstick, you'll have a cold and hot reading. Focus. So that's hot up there. And that's going to be cold down there. For some reason we are not. Yeah, so there's cool at the bottom. You want to be in that range. And if you're hot, like you were driving it all day, you want to be in that general area. So flat surface while the engine's running. Make sure that goes all the way in, and get all the way down, and you'll see I am in the cool area. Now I did underfill, so I need to put about a half quart in, and I should be in a good range. Not a half quart, about maybe between a quarter and a half quart, a third of a quart, and that should get me to right where I want to be at. So hopefully this helps you. Just make sure you're on a flat area when you finally do your check your level at the end.